topic, the best way to guard your pot of gold, make a good password. It is St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. And I'm Jen Langdon. I'm a former private school, middle school science teacher. And then I became a mom, and then I became passionate about cybersecurity. So I went to college to learn more about it. And that's why I'm here with all of you. So we're going to talk about a special topic in cybersecurity, which is keeping your passwords safe. So that was kind of the title today, how to guard your pot of gold. What does the pot of gold represent to us? What are we protecting when we use passwords? Right?
We're protecting our data.
That's right. We're protecting our data. And sometimes it may actually be like money, which is not physical gold, but it still represents that same idea. But we protect our bank accounts a lot of times with a password. And there are certain information with your bank account that you protect, like a bank number, right? You don't just go out shouting your bank number to everybody. And I'm sure many of us out there have maybe a savings account of some sorts, and you don't want to share that information with anybody. So what is data? What is that all about? What are some examples of what could be data? Let's start simple. Your name, that's data. Okay. Your birthday, that's also data. So these little pieces of information about you, right? Let's go through more things. How about your friends? That's information about you, especially if you join a social network, all those friendships that you have, that's data. What games you play online or on your phone, what videos you watch, that's data. What applications you have on your devices, that's data, whether or not it's your device or your parents' device. And then there's also one application, Pokemon Go. This application can actually even see what other applications you have on your device. So it's gathering lots of different types of information about you. Your address, that's data. Who's in your family? Do you have pets? That's data. What about who your doctor is? Do you have any medical conditions? That's data about you. Where you shop, what you buy, all of these things are data. And you may be wondering, well, it's out there for everybody to see. I put those little stickers with the little family, those may be on your car, right? It's okay to share that information, right? Why do we want to protect this data, our little pots of gold? And the reason is anything you share can be used by somebody out there to get more data about you or your family through the online accounts. And you may think, well, what can they really get about me? My online account is what? My school account. I log in maybe to go and interact with my class, or you log in maybe to play a game of some sort online. You have an account there. And the truth is, a lot of times those accounts, you may use the same login information as someone else in your family. And through that, we can get access to even bigger pieces of information, like your family's credit cards. Especially if your family has an Amazon account, you wouldn't want somebody to take that Amazon account information. What could happen, if somebody gets that? They could go buying all sorts of things on Amazon. It's not my account. I'm going to put whatever I want in my shopping cart, and you know where I'm going to ship it? An address that I have access to. That's what I would do, right? If I had access to someone else's account. So you have to protect this, okay? And only you can do it. It's up to you to care for your data. So that's what we're going to be talking about today with making strong passwords and making good passwords, is how can we get better at data care? And one way is to look at how to make strong passwords. And specifically, we're going to be looking at strong passwords that computers cannot figure out. Okay. So we're going to go to the web right now. Let me stop sharing that so that I can get to the website to share with you. So Let me share my screen now. There's the internet. Okay, so here we are. How secure is my password? So I'm going to try and show you my keyboard as I type, because when I type in here, as you will see, you cannot see. You see little dots, so you cannot see what I'm typing. So I'll try and hold up my keyboard. Let's try a simple password. A, B, and C. Oh my gosh. 400 nanoseconds. That's less than a second. You may not know what a nanosecond is, but it's less than one. Okay, so that's not a very good password. All right, ABC, not good. What about if we did password, right? PASSWORD. Instantly, what? But that's more than 3. That's crazy. So password, not a good. Okay, wait. Let's leave password in. What if we made it a little bit longer? Let's add. Can you see it? 1, 2, 3. Yes. Password 1, 2, 3 would take a month. That's pretty good, right? The computer, it would take a computer a whole month to figure out that password. I mean, if somebody's trying to break into my account, a month is at least enough time for me to, change my password a couple times, right? If I change it that frequently, a couple times in a month is a lot. Let's try a different one. I got an even better one. This is going to be really popular. Okay. I love this. We don't talk about Bruno. 15 billion years. No one, the computer would still be trying to figure out my password, and all mankind will not be here anymore. Okay. That would take a computer a long time. And you may be thinking like, oh, well, that's really cool. But really the computer is not, thinking anything about you and what password you're making. It's just rolling through. Okay. Let's roll through all the numbers and letters here on the keyboard. A, B, C. Okay. And once it's got through all those, it goes A, B, A, C. And then it keeps going. So it's going to take so it doesn't take that much time to do A, B, and C. Okay. The computer can figure that out on its own very quickly, under a second. But the more we keep adding, the more combinations the computer has to run through. And it just takes so long. So what did we learn? To make a strong password, you definitely want a long password, right? So that's a good tip to keep in mind from this website. However, some of those are not good passwords, right? Password 1, 2, 3 is not a good password. So let's try and figure out, let me get back to this. So we figured out how to make a strong password for the computer. But we need to make passwords that people cannot guess, because password 1, 2, 3 is kind of really easy. It's really easy to remember, and it's really common. So you should not make that your password, okay? Some other common passwords I have up here. So I said password 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one, if you look at your keyboard, sometimes people just go across the keyboard. Q, W, E, R, T, Y, QWERTY. Not a good password. Any of the letters in a row on the keyboard. I know it's easy to remember. It's not a real word, but it's still not good because other people have done that before. Things like colors, like the color green is actually a really common password that people use. You should not use that. Your pet's name. And even songs or lyrics from songs are definitely not good passwords at all to use. And we're going to talk about why that is. But first, I have a friend and he needs some help with his passwords. Well, really keeping his account safe. So he's really worried that his account is going to get broken into. So he's asked us to come here and help figure out if we can figure out his password. So his name, hold on, I clicked off there, is Olaf. And we really need to figure out what Olaf's passwords are to see if anybody else can figure them out. So let's think about Olaf. Olaf, he's a snowman, right? Olaf. Oh, you know what? He likes warm hugs, right? Do you want to build a snowman? Do we know some of Olaf's friends? Who are his friends? We have Sven, Kristoff, Anna, Elsa, right? What else do we know? So these are some easy things we could pick off. I might need to go do some more research to find out more about Olaf, right? I'm sure there'd be lots of information about him out there. So here are some things I kind of thought up. Hi, I'm Olaf. That's a good password, right? I like warm hugs. His friends. Water has memory. Let it go. That would be a good one. Do you want to build a snowman? That's a really long password, right? I think that would be pretty good. But as you're seeing here, like we can come up with those passwords just by thinking about Olaf and some things about him and the movie Frozen, which would be another good password to put on here. He likes fruitcake. He loves summer. He has a carrot nose. He might have some numbers in there. So there's lots of things here we can kind of build a password list that we could try on his account, right? So what we just did there, coming up with passwords for Olaf, is that good or is that bad? And what I kind of mean is like, is it good for us to be thinking of passwords that we can use to break into other people's accounts? And what really matters here is our intent. You know, I said Olaf came to us and we are helping him figure out, right, if his passwords are hackable or not, if somebody can guess at them. So really what we're doing is good. We're going to help Olaf. We're going to try and use the information about him to figure out if that's his password. And if we figure it out, we can assume other people can figure it out. And he doesn't want other people to be getting in his account. It's bad if Olaf did not know, right? And we started going into his account and then we took information. Or we did something he would not want somebody to do on his account. That would be bad and potentially illegal if you tried to like sell that information to somebody else. Okay, so there's a difference. What we did is the same exact thing that hackers do. Hackers, good and bad, use the same tools. So what I just did is use some Wikipedia or a social media page. You could do this with any person, right? There's Olaf's Wikipedia page. And there are simple web scraping tools you can use. And scraping means it's basically going to take all those words and turn them into a list, kind of like we did on the previous page. We had a list of words. And it'll look like this on the other side. And you can get the computer to mix and match words together, to change words using programming or coding. So those are certain things that hackers, good and bad, know how to do. Okay. So it's very important you think about what you put out there for the world to see, because these things can be used in this way to hack passwords. So what we make are these word lists. They're lists of words to guess the passwords. And there's a little more to this, but basically they're called rainbow tables. And we mentioned that today is St. Patrick's Day. So what's at the end of the rainbow? And the pot of gold represents
our data.
Our data, exactly. So hackers are going to use these lists of possible passwords to get access to your data. And as we talked about, computer guessing, this word list here is way faster than a computer guessing at your password. Okay. It doesn't have to run through every combination. We have a list of the best possible guesses of what your password could be. And it's faster than trying to just come up with passwords on our own, just manually thinking about Olaf, having to watch his movies, having to go through all of that. It's way faster than coming up with our own list if we use these computer tools to do it. Okay, so these are tools used by good hackers, which we call ethical hackers, and also bad hackers. So now we're going to talk about what are some good or bad passwords. And I'm going to give you a time to think about if they're good or bad. So let me know what you think. Good or bad? Asterisk, asterisk, princess, asterisk, asterisk. I mean, those asterisks there, that's got to be complicated. Bad. Well, it's still bad. How? How could it still be bad?
Because princess is an easy word to break.
Yes, princess is also one of the top passwords, one of the top 10 passwords in a well-known word list that hackers use. So definitely never use princess in your passwords. How about we don't talk about Bruno? Earlier we used that, and it was going to take like 4 billion years to break, right? For the computer to figure it out. Is this good or bad?
Really long.
It's really long.
It's a very popular song today.
It's super popular. It's still on the top of the charts. It's been weeks. Yeah. So yeah, that's not that good of a password. Anything involving lyrics to songs or song names, that especially ones that are super popular, not that good. Okay. How about password 123? Super bad. Very common. Don't use that. Don't use password as your password ever. How about Sparky 050615? It's pretty long. Got a list of numbers. Who would come up with that list of numbers, right?
Right.
But this is still not good. Somebody that knows me and knows my dog is Sparky, and if I talk about Sparky's birthday all the time on my social media, it's going to be really easy for people to figure out that this is a potential password that I could use. Okay, so that's actually not a good password. It's probably really easy to remember, but it's really not good. And the last one. It's not as long as we don't talk about Bruno.
It's good, but it's going to be hard to remember.
It's going to be hard to remember, but it's actually pretty decent password. It's still longer than 8 characters, so it's pretty long, and it's not really readable. So somebody trying to come up with your password using their word list, this is most likely not going to be in there. So how do you make a good password? That last password could be better, but it's definitely better than password 123. How do you make a good password? Keep it safe. Make sure it's long. Definitely more than 8 letters or numbers mixed together. Okay. 2, no readable words. No, we don't talk about Brunos. Okay. Don't use people and their birthdays. I've seen a lot of people kind of share their password with me because I needed access to their account. And I cannot tell you how many people use one of their kids or one of their siblings and their birthday or the number 1. Don't do that. It's so creepy common. All right. It's really easy for people to guess. So what you can do, your device can suggest passwords to you to use. Why not use those? Okay. And I know for not all accounts that happens, but you can change the password. Okay. And you can make it even stronger a lot of times. And you may not know what a keychain or a password manager is, but you can go tell your parents and ask them, say, hey, do we have a password manager for all of our passwords? And if we don't, why not? And there's a couple of reasons why this is good. Kind of ties into this next one, which is use biometrics. Do we know what biometrics are? Biometrics. We might not know these words yet, right? Basically, we're using parts of our body to sign into devices, right? You may have heard of like retinal scans. They scan your eye, fingerprint scan. A lot of the phones now do facial recognition. They can see your face, and they take like a picture in the bottom shows different pinpoints to figure out if it's you. And what's great about these is, as well as the keychain and password managers, is that you're not actually typing in the password. And when people look at you typing on your phone, they could easily look over your shoulder, or if you're typing on a computer, they can easily look over your shoulder and see you typing your password. So these are actually ways to keep your password safer, is to use these, especially when you're out in public, okay? For ethical hackers, if this really interests you, ethical hackers are pretty interesting people. They protect data. We talked about what data was, right? And it's stored on computers, and they protect this by actually trying to hack into that computer or that system to get that data or get certain pieces of information. They often have different types of tasks of what they're trying to achieve. And they work in many different places. They work mostly for companies or governments to make sure that all that information is secure. And if you want to learn to become one, you would want to study computer science or cybersecurity. So getting more into that, you may be a little bit young to study computer science or cybersecurity. But if that interests you, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts have some cybersecurity badges that you can earn. So if you're part of that organization, you can look into that with your troop. You could join or start a coding group. One common one that might be in your area is Lego Robotics, which is super cool. Do lots of problem solving there. You do coding to solve problems. And that's really kind of the basis of being an ethical hacker. You are using a set of skills to solve a problem. Okay. And if you're looking to start one, you can always ask a teacher or a librarian for more information, especially libraries, your public library. You could go to them. They know tons of stuff, including maybe information about coding camps during the summer. Lots of colleges have summer camps. You could look into those. And then when you get maybe a little bit older, then we're taking classes in computer science. See if that even interests you at all. If you're good at the computers or you're good at some computer science stuff, doesn't hurt to try it out. I wish I could go back and do it. Teachers, NSA K-12 has some resources for teaching cybersecurity. And we are also having a professional development on April 20th about some resources. And this is on Nepris for teaching cybersecurity. And we will be teamed up with our Teach Cyber colleagues and friends. So questions.
What kind of added advantage of using other characters like the ampersand or exclamation point or dollar sign or percentage sign, do those improve at all? Or is it just a false sense of security?
I mean, to some degree, they could improve it, especially if you're talking about length, making the password a little bit longer. But commonly, the most common passwords, a lot of them in the word list don't include a lot of those things. So that might be a good thing to throw in there. A lot of the best passwords for websites do ask that they include those. And actually, sometimes I can't even remember to include them either. When I have to sign in, I'm like, oh yeah, this is that website. It makes you use one of those special characters. So I think it could help a little bit, but remember, your password also has to be long as well. So you can't just have ABC sort of length.
Do you have an age recommendation that where parents should definitely know what their kids' passwords are? Is it just elementary school? Is it elementary and middle?
I think elementary and middle school, we should be definitely monitoring that, because where kids are still learning how to use the internet. And so we want them to be safe on there. There are a lot of applications that are marketed towards kids currently that should not be, to put it lightly. And it's hard to get that information out there about how dangerous some of these applications are. Parents may not be aware, and kids are certainly not aware. Even some games, a lot of kids are playing games on their phones. And parents, if you're not paying attention, you may not know that the games have chats that the kids can chat and be a part of. And they may be chatting with, maybe they think that other kid is like 9 years old or 10 years old is their age and they want to be friends, but really you don't know. It's the internet. They may say that, but that doesn't mean that they are 9 years old. They could be 55. And at that point, it kind of gets a little bit creepy. So we should be making sure that we are there to coach. Yeah, coaching, I think, is a good way to put it.
Good advice. Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
Information was really great, especially the suggestion about using a pet's name. That was a really good piece of advice because I think a lot of us may have been guilty of doing that prior to information.
Yes, especially if we're sharing out there, oh, my pet so-and-so, and you may post on social media, oh, I had to take my pet to the doctor. People, we love our fur babies and we love sharing about them. So yes, it's a common mistake. I guess in that same vein of pets, also be sure if, you start talking online to people as we learn to, grow into social media, as I'm sure many of our kids are at this age, because they see it. It's right there. Their older siblings may have that. Make sure that you're not, putting out things like your favorite ice cream flavor or, your hometown mascot and all of those. There's like little quizzes that may ask like 50 questions about you. Those are also common things that, like I said, they use that scraping tool. They're going to pull all those things off about you. And those are common things people also use as passwords. So something to be aware of and not share on social media. If you want to share it with your friends, you can just send them a message.
Good guidance there, Jen.
Yes. Well, thank you all for being with us. We hope to have more to share at the elementary level coming soon. Maybe some live password hacking, which will be super, super fun. You could see how hackers actually do break passwords and break into computers. So that way you can even see what the hackers see. And maybe you'll come to find an interest in computers and cybersecurity. I know I did. It's so much fun, actually. So I can't wait to share that with all of you in the future. Have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. Bye-bye.